Picture this. You're on question 64 of your AWS certification exam. The clock is ticking down. You're staring at the 4 multiple choice options, and they all look absolutely exactly right. You panic. You guess. And you fail.
Welcome to this explainer. Let's dive right into this. So why exactly did you fail? It's not because you didn't study hard enough. No, you failed because you fell headfirst into a trap, one carefully engineered by AWS psychologists. You see, to actually beat the AWS Solutions Architect Associate exam, just knowing the right answers, it's not enough. You have to know exactly how the test is actively trying to trick you. Stick with me, and let me show you how to decode the exam's absolutely deadliest traps.
Section 1. The Trap of Distractors.
Here's the thing. The exam doesn't just test if you know what a specific service does, it tests whether you know what it doesn't do. If you aren't completely clear on the boundaries of the AWS well-architected framework, this test will break you. They use what AWS officially calls a distractor. Now, what is that? A distractor is basically a cheap knockoff answer. It's perfectly designed to look incredibly plausible to someone walking in with incomplete knowledge.
Let's slow down and break this down for a second. On the exam, you're going to face 2 distinct types of questions. First, you've got multiple choice questions. These give you exactly 1 correct response sitting right next to 3 carefully crafted distractors. Then you have multiple response questions. These throw 5 or more options at you, and your job is to pick 2 or more correct answers from that whole pile.
Now, you might be wondering, why do these distractors even exist? Well, it's because in the real world, picking the almost right database architecture can literally cost your company $1 million in downtime. Think about that way for a second.
Think of a distractor like a counterfeit watch. From far away, it looks exactly like a real Rolex. It ticks perfectly, it shines. But the very second you look closely at that serial number, you realize it is completely fake. If you don't know exactly what to look for going in, you're going to buy the fake.
Listen to me, because here is where people absolutely fail this. They hit a wall, get completely paralyzed by a question they don't know, and they leave it blank. Why? Because they're terrified of losing points. Guys, never, ever leave a question blank. Unanswered questions are automatically scored as incorrect, and there is absolutely 0 penalty for guessing.
Section 2. The unscored question secret.
Okay, here is where things get crazy, and honestly, this should bring you some incredible psychological relief. The exam actually hides 15 completely unscored questions right inside your test. You're going to sit there and take 65 questions, but only 50 of them will actually affect your final score. AWS secretly uses those extra 15 questions as beta tests just to evaluate future exam questions.
Think about that for a second. Out of 65 total questions, only 50 are scored. So what does this all mean for you? If you hit a question that seems completely impossible or just flat out unfair, you absolutely cannot let it ruin your momentum. Take a breath. It might literally be a fake question that doesn't even count towards your score.
Section 3. Mastering the 4 domains.
So, how do you make that ultimate decision when 2 answers look absolutely identical? You look right at the final sentence of the scenario to find the domain keyword. See, the exam is not graded evenly. It's split into 4 strict domains. Domain 1 is secure architectures, carrying the most weight at 30%. Domain 2 is resilient architectures at 26%. Domain 3 is high-performing at 24%, and finally, Domain 4 is cost-optimized, sitting at 20%.
This brilliantly illustrates what happens when you miss that crucial keyword. Let's say the business requirement asks for the most cost-effective way to store data, but you look at the options and pick a high-performance database because, hey, it perfectly solved the technical problem, right? Well, you just failed the question. Sure, it worked, but it wasn't the cheapest. You essentially answered a Domain 3 performance question when they explicitly asked you a Domain 4 cost question.
Section 4. Out-of-scope cheat sheet. Now get ready, because here is the ultimate exam trap. The official AWS exam guide actually gives us a literal cheat sheet of services that are completely out of scope for this test. So, if you see Amazon Lightsail, Amazon Managed Blockchain, AWS Cloud9, or Amazon GameLift in an answer, absolutely do not pick them. Distractors are going to use these exact services just to bait you.
It's amazing, really. AWS is practically handing you an eraser here. They literally tell you which answers to cross out instantly before you even bother reading the rest of the question.
Section 5. Final Strategy Summary.
All right, let's lock this in. We know distractors are perfectly designed fake answers. To beat them, you just need to follow these simple rules. Number 1, always guess, because unanswered questions are automatically wrong. Number 2, match your answers strictly to the domain requested in the final sentence. Number 3, do not panic on impossible questions, because remember, they might be unscored anyway. And number 4, instantly cross out any out-of-scope services.
I'll leave you with a final warning. If you study by just memorizing practice test questions, instead of actually learning why the distractors are wrong, the real exam will destroy you. You've got to learn the boundaries, spot the traps, and keep building. So the next time you sit down to take a test, which distractor trap are you going to outsmart first?